Chapter 41 Arrival. Titled Douluo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Backwoods. A waterfall crashes down, its sound clear and sweet, like nature's own song. Shink, shink. The sound of a knife being sharpened cut through the air, dragging Douluo from sleep. She bolted upright, finding herself tied up, with a cold-looking guy honing a blade nearby. The snow-white steel scraped against the rock, sending sparks flying. The blade gleamed, like a sliver of moon cutting through the dark. Fang Xian. What do you want? Seeing the cruel look on his face, Douluo cowered, her face paling. Fang Xian didn't reply, just shot her a cold glance. It made her shiver. Thief. You wouldn't dare mess with me, would you? Out here in the boonies, a girl alone with a guy. Douluo jumped to conclusions. She figured Fang Xian was looking to get fresh. Still silent, Fang Xian raised the long knife he'd been sharpening. Think this'll get sharp enough? What are you going to do to me? Watching him approach with the knife, Douluo swallowed hard. She realized he wasn't interested in her looks, he was after her life. Heh. Fang Xian, channeling an anime villain, twisted his face into a grin and waved the knife in front of her. Douluo, ever heard the legend of the ogre? Ogre? What ogre? The blade danced inches from her face, close enough to nick her nose. Douluo was freaking out. Legend says that at midnight, an ogre comes out to feed. Anyone unlucky enough to cross his path gets eaten alive, bones and all. Eaten alive. Funny you should mention that, it's almost midnight. Fang Xian stared at her, eyes glinting. You're the ogre. Douluo recoiled, picturing him morphing into a monster with green skin and fangs. Maybe. Fang Xian smirked. A girl like you, 17 or 18, probably tastes the best. Which piece should I carve off first? No. Fang Xian, I messed up. Please don't eat me. Douluo was terrified. Tears welled in her eyes as she begged. The girl who was usually so proud and arrogant was now a sobbing mess, scared out of her mind by her classmates' ogre act. Maybe I'll start with your eyeballs and roast em up. Fang Xian lunged, mouth wide open. Ah! Douluo screamed and fainted dead away. Huh? I didn't even touch you. How'd you pass out? Fang Xian was speechless. Maybe he had a future as a villain. He could become a big bad in Douluo Continent. He just wanted to scare her a little more, but she'd gone down before he even laid a finger on her. So much for being proud. Boring. So boring. He hadn't even gotten to use his knife. That's a lesson for you. Maybe you'll think twice about messing with me next time. Fang Xian glanced at the unconscious Douluo, sheathed his blade, and figured he'd done enough. It was getting late. He was ready to head back, leaving Douluo to cool off. Maybe some creep would show up and take her out. He turned away from the stream, heading toward the woods. The woods connected the back mountain to the main campus. After being hunted all night, he was beat. Ugh. Fang Xian ambled into the woods, hands behind his head, yawning. Boom! A chill shot down his spine. He felt like he was being watched by a viper. His hair stood on end, and a primal fear gripped him. Who's there? He spun around and saw a figure standing on a rock. The old man had long, dark green hair, a face etched with wrinkles, and a withered body straight as a rod. His green eyes, like a snake's, locked onto Fang Xian, and a wave of terrifying energy crashed over him. Titled Douluo. Douluo. Fang Xian's face went white. It was the famous poison Douluo himself. A level 92 control type titled Douluo, whose martial soul was the green scale snake king, master of all poisons. He hadn't expected a titled Douluo to show up. After a moment's thought, he understood. Douluo was here for revenge. This was bad. Sweat beaded on Fang Xian's forehead as he frantically searched for an escape. Well, the kid's not as dumb as they say. Douluo sneered, hands behind his back, his power rising like a tsunami. But you messed with my granddaughter. You think you're walking away from this? 9 soul rings erupted from Douluo's feet, illuminating the night. A prehistoric force slammed into Fang Xian. Bang! That it felt like he'd been hit by a truck. His chest caved in, and blood spurted from his mouth. He heard bones breaking. Pain consumed him. Against a titled Douluo, he was helpless. He was sent flying, smashing through 3 trees before slamming into a rock. He was bleeding and near death. Happy birthday to me. Chapter 42 Poison Nest and Opportunities, please recommend. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Am I dead? Pain surged through Fang Xian like a wave, making his body spasm. His head throbbed, like iron filings were grinding inside, a sharp, tearing pain. Every inch of his body felt like it had been run over by a semi-truck. Bones shattered, skin ripped, muscles strained, he was a mess. The agony dragged him back to consciousness. Fang Xian forced his heavy eyelids open, and found himself in a dim, damp, gloomy, and lifeless space. A strange cave. He pressed his bloody palms against the ground, struggling to sit up. The blood on his hands had dried, so some time had passed. He cautiously checked himself over and discovered the extent of his injuries. His left wrist was fractured, 3 ribs were broken, and a nasty gash marred his abdomen. Worst of all, his thigh bone had pierced through the flesh, sticking out in the open air. The sight made his skin crawl. This was the power of a titled Douluo. He hadn't even lifted a finger, just unleashed his overbearing, 9-ring soul power. That sheer force had crushed Fang Xian, leaving him barely alive. I'm too weak, just too damn weak. Facing Douluo, Fang Xian felt utterly insignificant, clenching his fists in frustration. Wait. Where is Douluo? The thought of the terrifying old poison freak jolted him. He frantically looked around, his sharp eyes scanning every nook and cranny of the cave, but Douluo was nowhere to be seen. Vanished? Fang Xian frowned. The powerful, unpredictable titled Douluo felt like a ticking time bomb. He was terrified of Douluo. After a moment of silence, he quietly examined his battered body. His expression turned serious. First things first, he needed to heal these injuries. My blade. Where's my blade? Fang Xian quickly felt at his waist and sighed in relief. The shadowless knife was safe in its scabbard. Thank God, I still have my blade. With my knife in hand, I have the world. Stroking the snow-white shadowless knife, Fang Xian instantly felt better. Healing knife. Silently chanting the incantation, the 9-hearted begonia within him began to spin rapidly, emitting waves of holy light that enveloped his entire body. He felt like he was soaking in a hot spring, warm and comfortable, soothing and relaxing. Broken bones snapped back together, and torn flesh began to knit itself closed. In this dire situation, the potent healing abilities of the 9-hearted begonia spirit finally demonstrated their true power. Before long, Fang Xian's grievous injuries had healed in the blink of an eye. Whoa! He exhaled slowly, a flash of joy in his eyes. He was both surprised and amazed by the 9-hearted begonia's immense healing prowess. This spirit is insane. It's almost as powerful as the reversal secret in covering the heavens. Fang Xian leapt to his feet and started flexing his muscles. He threw a few punches, creating strong gusts of wind. At the same time, his bones cracked and popped like firecrackers. He was back to fighting shape, no doubt about it. So, that's how you broke yin-yang snake venom? A frigid voice suddenly cut through the air. Fang Xian jumped and spun around. Deep in the shadows of the cave, he saw a pair of green eyes staring at him coldly. The old monster had been lurking here the whole time, close enough to touch, yet Fang Xian hadn't noticed him at all. Douluo. Fang Xian gritted his teeth, raised the shadowless knife, and locked his gaze on Douluo. His face was grim. Just one moment. If this volatile titled Douluo wanted him dead, it would take him a split second to finish Fang Xian. But Douluo clearly wasn't looking to kill him. Otherwise, Fang Xian would have been dead back on the mountain already. With Poison Douluo's mastery of poison, he would have vanished without a trace. Interesting kid. You're barely over level 20, yet you managed to defeat Yan Yan, who's level 34. I'm intrigued. Douluo gave Fang Xian a cold once-over and said, his voice deep, boy, you should be grateful you didn't do anything permanent. If you had actually hurt Yan Yan, you'd be a corpse right now. Fang Xian remained silent, staring intently at Douluo. He didn't believe for a second that the old monster was letting him off the hook because he'd shown Douluo mercy. If he wanted to escape, he was on his own. He struggled to stay calm and quickly racked his brain for a way to survive. But you did offend Yan Yan, and that debt needs to be paid. I won't kill you outright, but I will slowly extract all your secrets. When you're no longer useful, I'll send you on your way, and no one will ever know you were here. Heh, a cruel smile twisted Douluo's lips. He was infamous for his poison, and he was clearly not a nice guy. From the moment he captured Fang Xian in his poison lair, he'd had no intention of letting him leave alive. Fang Xian knew this instinctively. A life-or-death situation. Even he, who usually stayed calm, felt his breath quicken and a cold sweat break out on his forehead. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Am I really going to die at the hands of this old monster? Just when Fang Xian was about to panic, a thought sparked in his mind. Wait a minute. This is an unprecedented crisis, but it might also be a golden opportunity. Isn't this how Tang San first met Douluo? This could be a chance to steal Tang San's good fortune. As the events of Douluo played back in his head, Fang Xian calmed down. He stared straight at Douluo and said, old monster, if I die, you're going down with me. Douluo's eyes flashed with icy fury, and the temperature in the cave plummeted. What did you say, brat? The words exploded from him, devoid of all emotion. Chapter 43, Deceiving Titled Douluo, please collect and recommend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bang, the answer was a slap in the face. Douluo waved his hand, sending Fang Xian flying. Kid, threatening a titled Douluo isn't smart. Poison Douluo glared at Fang Xian, who was sprawled on the ground. His snake-like eyes were cold and emotionless. Fang Xian had expected this. Tricking a titled Douluo this cunning wasn't going to be easy. He might just get killed by this crazy old monster. Fang Xian dusted himself off and calmly looked at Douluo. You definitely live up to your name, Poison Douluo. You really are terrifying. It's not just rookies like me who fear your poison, even powerful titled Douluos are scared stiff. Humph. Good to know you understand. Douluo puffed out his chest, clearly enjoying the flattery, but before he could bask in it for long, Fang Xian's next words wiped the smile off his face. Too bad you're not just poisoning others, you're poisoning yourself. A sarcastic smirk crept onto Fang Xian's lips. You little brat, what are you babbling about? My own poison hurting me? I've been around for decades. I'm the one who dishes out the poison, nobody can poison me. Douluo's expression hardened. Fang Xian locked eyes with him, unflinching. When it's cloudy or rainy, do you get numbness and itching in your ribs, around noon and midnight, every single day? It lasts for about an hour, and it gets worse and worse the whole time. Also, every night, around midnight, do you get stabbing, needle-like pains in the top of your head and soles of your feet? And your whole body seizes up for like half an hour? I'm guessing I don't need to describe how excruciating that is. If it wasn't poison, how could you be in this situation? How do you know that? Even the cunning and experienced Douluo couldn't hide his shock as Fang Xian revealed his deepest secret. It was something he hadn't even told his beloved granddaughter. How could this kid know about it? And he described it perfectly, like he'd been there watching it happen. Douluo was floored. Your poison is just garbage. Remembering the original story, Fang Xian delivered Tang San's most arrogant line. Watch your mouth, kid, or I'll happily let you watch your body rot from the inside out. Trust me, it's as easy as snapping my fingers. Enraged, Douluo unleashed a wave of murderous intent that crashed into Fang Xian, sending him staggering back 9 steps. Pft! Cough! Fang Xian spat out a mouthful of blood. He plunged his long knife into the ground, using his ice power to counteract the toxic energy. Humph, you've got some skills, I'll give you that. Most soul masters couldn't withstand that just now. You're just a great soul master in your 20s, and you resisted my murderous intent. Interesting, Douluo nodded, then smiled grimly. But if you piss me off, you still die. Ha, I don't care if I die. You're an old fossil, so who cares if you kick the bucket, but, what a shame. Fang Xian said pointedly, as if talking to himself. What's a shame? Douluo frowned, wondering what the kid was up to. It's a shame your beautiful granddaughter might not live much longer. Fang Xian stared coldly at Douluo. You bastard. What did you say? Douluo exploded in anger and reached out with his right hand. A powerful force yanked Fang Xian 10 meters across the space, pulling him into his grasp. He grabbed Fang Xian's throat, his eyes blazing with murderous intent. Fang Xian, realizing Douluo's weakness, wasn't afraid. He said calmly, the truth is, you're not just poisoned, it's already deep in your bones. If you don't get treatment, you might not have many years left. And the worst part is your granddaughter, Douluo. She's been holding on for a while, like you, but she's weaker, and the poison's even worse because she got it from her mother. When it flares up, it's stronger and more painful than yours. I'd bet my life that if you wait another 2 years, Douluo will be dead. Douluo was shocked. His face twisted in pain. He knew how terrible the poison flare-ups were, and even he could barely stand them, let alone his delicate granddaughter. Douluo loved Douluo more than anything in the world. He'd lived a long life, and it didn't matter if it ended soon, but he couldn't stand by and watch Douluo die from the poison. Hey, old-timer, don't make that face. As Douluo agonized, Fang Xian grinned mysteriously, staring intently at him. It's not like there's no way to cure your poison. What? Boy, you can detoxify me. Douluo grabbed Fang Xian's shoulders, his eyes wide with a mixture of hope and suspicion, excited but unsure if he could believe the words. Absolutely, Fang Xian smiled smugly, knowing he had Douluo hooked. You think I'd be rambling like this for no reason? Fang Xian smirked. As long as he followed the original story, Douluo would turn from a terrifying poison Douluo into a valuable gift package, dragon-slaying sword. Paralysis ring. Full-level upgrade card. CC plugin. Colorful abyss pillar. Big dragon buff, star. Anything was possible. Chapter 44 Miracle Dr. Fang Xian, please recommend. Please collect. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. At that moment, Douluo wasn't a deadly snake anymore, but a juicy, defenseless lamb. Fang Xian's eyes lit up. This was a golden opportunity. He could snag Douluo's stash of rare treasures and trick a titled Douluo into being his bodyguard. Talk about hitting the jackpot. You can cure me? Douluo frowned, eyeing the earnest-looking Fang Xian with suspicion. Even he couldn't cure his own condition. The idea that some young punk could was a hard pill to swallow. I know this miracle doctor, Fang Xian declared. His skills are so legendary, he can practically raise the dead. Medicine is his magic wand. There's no illness he can't fix. Is that a fact? And who is this miracle worker? The world's #1 miracle doctor is, me, Douluo. He fought the urge to slap Fang Xian into next week. Talk about pulling stuff out of thin air. You don't buy it? Tough. I'm the only one on this whole continent who can cure you, period. Fang Xian insisted. Ha 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 ha. Douluo blinked, then burst into laughter. Sure, kid. Lay it on thick. He wasn't buying a single word of Fang Xian's tall tale. He'd just play along for now. Old-timer, if you want proof, let me borrow your granddaughter for a test run. Spotting Douluo stalking into the cave with daggers in her eyes, Fang Xian's lips curled into a dangerous smirk. Douluo froze, her gaze burning into Fang Xian. You little creep, what are you babbling about? Watch your mouth, kid, Douluo warned, his voice like ice. Disrespect my wild goose again, and you'll be pushing up daisies. Fang Xian scoffed. Suit yourself, but kill me, and your poison's going nowhere. You and your granddaughter will be joining me in the ground soon enough. Douluo's face clouded over, weighing his options. What poison? Grandpa, what's he even talking about? Douluo looked at Fang Xian, suspicion hardening her gaze. He's a slick, conniving little weasel. Not a word he says is true. Don't let him pull the wool over your eyes, Grandpa. Miss Douluo, that's slander. Have you forgotten our heart-to-heart last night? Fang Xian teased. Aye, what are you even implying? Douluo sputtered, her teeth grinding. He was just spinning a yarn to rattle her, acting like she was pining for a romantic night with him. Come on, you're so forgetful. I seem to recall you being moved to tears. Well, more like passed out from fear. I passed out from fear, you bonehead. Furious, Douluo turned to Douluo, who remained silent. Grandpa, let me at him. I'll give him a taste of my green scale snake venom. Heh. Fang Xian smirked. Your grandpa's poison is weak sauce, and yours is even weaker. Go ahead, try me. I'll stand right here and see if your little snake bite can even leave a mark. You little punk, that's it. I'll show you the power of my venom. Douluo stamped her foot, frustrated by her grandfather's silence. Grandpa, Fang Xian's eyes flickered, studying Douluo's reaction. He was deliberately trying to provoke Douluo. Her poison was the test. If he couldn't withstand it, Douluo would know he was a fraud and end him, but if he could shrug it off, it would buy him some serious credibility. After a long pause, Douluo finally spoke, his voice low. Fine. Kid, survived Yanyan's jade-scaled snake venom, and I might believe you. Fail, and you're staying here. Permanently. The threat hung in the air, cold and clear, but Fang Xian wasn't afraid. In fact, he was secretly elated. This was exactly what he wanted. Douluo, who already despised Fang Xian, finally had the perfect excuse to make him pay. With a dramatic flourish, she pushed up the gold-trimmed sleeves of her robes and sashayed up to Fang Xian. She put one hand on her hip and playfully twirled a strand of purple hair with the other. Her eyes narrowed, fixing him with a dangerous look. Get ready to meet your maker, Fang Xian, Douluo hissed. I hope your snake juice has a bit more kick than last time. Otherwise, it'll just tickle. Fang Xian said casually. Humph, you idiot. Time to die. With a hiss, a green scale snake emerged from Douluo, its emerald eyes locking onto Fang Xian. It snapped open its jaws and spat a cloud of purple mist. Green scale snake venom was no joke. It was potent enough to kill a 4-ring soul sect master instantly. Douluo had no doubt it would put Fang Xian 6 feet under. The purple mist enveloped Fang Xian, quickly seeping into his body. Almost immediately, his lungs felt like they were filled with needles. Every muscle screamed in agony. His face turned a sickly purple, and dark circles appeared around his eyes. He was shaking uncontrollably, on the verge of collapsing. He was poisoned, plain and simple. Ha ha ha, Fang Xian, you're mine now. Enjoy your slow, agonizing death. Douluo crowed, certain she'd won. Just then, a voice echoed in Fang Xian's mind. Nine-hearted begonia. Deep inside him, the pure white, flawless nine-hearted begonia martial soul began to bloom. Waves of sacred, milky white soul power surged through his meridians. The moment the green scale snake venom came into contact with the healing power of the nine-hearted begonia, it scattered like mice fleeing a cat. The nine-hearted begonia unleashed its potent detoxification power, relentlessly purging the poison from Fang Xian's body, cleansing every cell. In moments, every trace of the venom was gone. The pain subsided, and his complexion returned to normal. A smirk played on his lips as he looked at Douluo. Sorry to disappoint you. Again. Vote for recommendation, please. Currently coding Chapter 2. Chapter 45 Good Fortune. Eyes of Ice and Fire please recommend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No way. How are you still alive? My green-scaled snake venom should have taken you out. Douluo Yan's face twisted when he saw Fang Xian grinning back at him. He looked like he'd seen a ghost, completely dumbfounded. What did that kid do? Douluo's pupils shrank. He'd witnessed Fang Xian get hit with his granddaughter's venom, seen him practically dying from it, then, just like that, he bounced back. Unbelievable. Even if Douluo Yan's poison wasn't as potent as his own, it should still be enough to drop a great soul master. Could Fang Xian really be a miracle worker like he claimed? Douluo was stumped. See? I told you I was the real deal. That little bit of snake venom. No sweat, Fang Xian said, a smug look on his face. The truth was, his medical skills had nothing to do with it. He owed it all to the 9-heart begonia's detoxifying power. Besides healing, the 9-heart begonia soul also neutralized poisons, which meant Douluo Yan's snake venom was basically harmless to him. Of course, the effect had its limits. He wasn't immune to all poisons. If Douluo had been the one wielding the venom, even the 9-heart begonia might not have saved him. The power difference between them was just too vast. Alright, Fang Xian. Douluo wasn't entirely convinced, but the icy glare in his eyes softened a little. Cure Yan Yan and me of our poison, and I'll let you live. How's that sound? Ha! You want to trade 2 lives for 1? No way, that's a total ripoff. And I don't trust you. What's to stop you from turning around and offing me once I heal you? I'm guessing that's chump change for the poison Douluo. Safety first. That was always Fang Xian's motto. He wasn't about to put his trust in Douluo without some serious guarantees. TCH. You're one crafty kid for your age. Douluo was getting a headache dealing with Fang Xian. Look, I'm no saint, but I live by a code. I pay back debts, good or bad. You save Yan Yan and me, and I swear I'll make it worth your while. Fang Xian's eyes lit up. This was the break he'd been waiting for. Grandpa, what are you talking about? What poison? I feel fine. Are you sure you haven't been conned by this creep? Douluo Yan looked at Fang Xian with suspicion. Yan Yan, relax. I've got this, Douluo said, gently patting his granddaughter's head. Even the world's most notorious poison expert couldn't help but show a flicker of tenderness. He'd do anything to keep his granddaughter safe, especially from the poisonous condition that threatened her. That was why, even though suspicion was practically his middle name, Douluo was willing to put his faith in this young boy. Senior Douluo, you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. Even if I'm the miracle doctor who can neutralize 100 different poisons, I'm standing here empty-handed. How am I supposed to treat you without any ingredients? Here it comes. The payoff. After all the coaxing and maneuvering, Fang Xian was finally getting down to business. He had his sights set on the primo herbs in Douluo's personal garden. Easy, Douluo said with a proud smirk, my garden's packed with rare and exotic herbs, all sorts of medicinal plants. Just take what you need, yes. Finally. After all this song and dance, you better cough up the goods. Fang Xian let out a silent cheer. He then stuck close to Douluo, following him out of the cave and toward the old monster's medicine garden. The serene valley stretched out along the verdant hills, ending at a hot spring. The pool was oval and relatively small, divided in the middle. The water was an odd mix of milky white and bright red. The milky white water gave off a chilly mist, and the surrounding plants were covered in a thin layer of frost. The vermilion water, on the other hand, steamed and bubbled like boiling water, reflecting a reddish hue onto the nearby greenery. One side cold, one side hot. The two distinct waters coexisted in perfect harmony, without blending or affecting each other. The ice and fire yin-yang well. Fang Xian couldn't contain his excitement. After all the effort, they'd finally arrived at this one-of-a-kind treasure trove. A major opportunity was waiting. What's that, ice and fire yin-yang well? Douluo gave Fang Xian a puzzled look. Nothing, it's just a prime piece of real estate. With this ice and fire yin-yang well, I'm 100% sure I can cure your poison. Fang Xian said, in the original story, even Tang San was only 50% confident he could cure Douluo. Fang Xian was exaggerating to put the poisoned Douluo at ease. Besides, in the grand scheme of things, even with only a 50% chance, Douluo would still make it to the end in one piece, and even come out stronger, so, in a way, 5 is equal to 10. 100%. Even though he thought Fang Xian was stretching the truth a bit, Douluo couldn't help but look hopeful. It was like a patient with terminal cancer hearing a doctor confidently claim they could cure him. Sure, the doctor might be a quack, but it was still nice to hear. For real. Douluo shot Fang Xian a skeptical glance. Absolutely. For a miracle worker like me, curing your poison is a piece of cake. Fang Xian said without batting an eye. Kid, you sure are full of yourself, Douluo chuckled. Don't sweat it, just stick to the script. There are plenty of elixirs waiting. Fang Xian was pumped. Chapter 46 Endless Elixir. Please recommend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Douluo, I need some time. Surrounded by all these beautiful, fragrant herbs, Fang Xian's breath quickened. He fought down the urge to grab everything and said calmly to Douluo, give me a day. I'll figure out an antidote. I'll cure the poison in your system. Douluo's eyes lit up, overflowing with unconcealed excitement. Okay. I can wait a day. But don't try anything. I know every inch of this valley. Don't even think about running, or else. Run. With this many rare herbs. I wouldn't leave if you tried to make me. Fang Xian smiled, his face an innocent mask. Don't worry. My word is my bond. If I don't get you an antidote, I'm not leaving until I'm dead. He'd borrowed the sentiment from the Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's vow, making it sound truly righteous. Even Douluo was a little touched. I didn't think this kid had it in him. I was suspicious of him a minute ago. Guess I misjudged him. Douluo sighed inwardly, looking at Fang Xian with a newfound respect. Hard to find someone trustworthy these days. Little did Douluo know, Fang Xian was here for one reason and one reason only, the garden of rare herbs. Tremble, you elixirs. Once the old monster Douluo was finally gone, Fang Xian rubbed his hands together excitedly and was about to dive for a glowing purple Ganoderma lucidum, but then he felt a chill down his spine. He turned to see Douluo glaring daggers at him. He scratched his head, feeling a little awkward. You're still here. You snake. What are you really up to? I bet you're lying to my grandpa. Douluo shot back, angry. Ahem, it's nothing. Your grandfather's a titled Douluo. He could wipe me out with a snap of his fingers. I wouldn't dare lie to him if you gave me 10 lives. Please. Douluo's purple hair whipped around her as she glared, hands on her hips. Fang Xian is a dirtbag. My grandpa is old and kinda out of it. You might fool him. But you won't fool me. Tell me. What do you want? I don't believe you'd be so nice as to whip up an antidote. Sometimes, a woman's intuition is scary. He'd managed to trick a titled Douluo, but this girl was tougher. Fine, stick around if you want. Fang Xian was unfazed. With Douluo watching, he nonchalantly took off his belt and pulled off his shirt. Since Miss Douluo is so interested in watching me take a dip, who am I to refuse? EW. Creep. Douluo's face went bright red. She spat at Fang Xian and took off running. Even as she ran, she was muttering, shameless, sneaky, pervert. With Douluo gone, the valley was much quieter. The hot springs gurgled out of the ice and fire eyes, the only sound to be heard. Finally, he was alone. Fang Xian stared at the countless rare herbs around him, eyes sparkling, and rubbed his hands, ready to get picking. Fang Xian began walking alongside the ice and fire eyes, searching for special herbs. Soon, he spotted a white, tender object that looked like a fat little worm on the bank of the ice spring river. He cheered, "Snow silkworm, the best cordyceps." Cordyceps is already a precious treasure, and snow silkworm is the best of the best. Incredibly rare. Eating one of these will give you a huge boost in soul power, like that. Plus, cordyceps is known for being gentle. No worries about side effects. If I sold this, I could get 1,000,000 gold soul coins. Fang Xian was pumped. But before he could calm down, a fiery red lotus in front of him grabbed his attention. Cinnabar lotus. A valuable, cold-natured herb that can counteract fire-based poisons. As rare as the snow silkworm, close by, a purple Ganoderma lucidum looked like it had just popped out of the soil. Its cap was just opening, still with a bit of dirt on it. It looked so delicate. A 9th-grade purple mushroom. Fang Xian was overloaded by the endless array of rare herbs. He didn't know what to pick first. Screw it. Only a fool picks. I'll take them all. Fang Xian started grabbing, picking the snow silkworm, the cinnabar lotus, the Ganoderma lucidum, and tossing them into his space ring. What's that? A strong fragrance drew him. It was a pink fairy flower growing on the bank where the red and white springs met. The petals were crystal clear, the stamen sparkled like diamonds, and the flower was as big as his foot, more vibrant than flames. So delicate and beautiful. Fragrant Douluo immortal herb. Fang Xian was over the moon. This giant flower in front of him was the real deal, a top-tier fragrant Douluo immortal herb. It's the bane of all poisons. It can't cure poison after the fact, but its fragrance is a deterrent. Within its area of effect, no poison works. Of course, if you're poisoned beforehand, a fragrant Douluo immortal herb won't do a thing. This is the ultimate anti-poison herb. As time went on, Fang Xian discovered even more rare herbs: wonderful antler chrysanthemum, 8-petal fairy orchid, coxcomb phoenix sunflower, Douluo tulip, acacia heartbroken red, narcissus jade muscle and bone, river autumn water dew. One rare herb after another showed up. If any of these got out, it would cause a frenzy. Take the velvet toothing chrysanthemum, for example. If that chrysanthemum Douluo found out about it, he'd stop at nothing to get it. A treasure trove. This is a real gold mine. Then a bold idea hit Fang Xian. He licked his lips, eyeing the herbs greedily, wishing he could gobble them all up at once. Yeah, that would make him explode on the spot. Fighting down the urge, Fang Xian kept exploring the medicine garden. Around dusk, he found ice and fire, extreme cold and extreme heat, two opposite herbs, star anise, black ice grass, and Lianliahua apricot were right there, the ultimate goal of Fang Xian's trip. Chapter 47: The Fusion of Ice and Fire. Nirvana and Rebirth. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Star anise, black ice grass, fiery apricot, not the best elixirs on their own, but together, they're a game-changer. Taking two kinds of these rare grasses at the same time is crazy risky, but it was Fang Xian's best shot. He sat by the spring, hesitated for a beat, then his eyes hardened with determination. Time to roll the dice. Fiery apricot and star anise are the real deal, fairy grass. You can't hack at them with metal, or you'll kill the magic. Jade's the only way to go. Luckily, Fang Xian had an ancient jade shovel he'd snatched off some chump. He used it to pluck two perfect specimens. As the two plants sat in front of Fang Xian, their intense hot and cold auras started to mellow out. The fiery red leaves of the fiery apricot grass were dusted with snow-white frost, and the icy white tips of the star anise grass were flushed with heat. The two extremes were blending, neutralizing each other. These grasses cancel each other out for about 10 seconds. That's the sweet spot. Miss it, and they'll just eat each other up, and all that potential power will be wasted. Now's the time. Fang Xian's eyes flashed. He grabbed the two toxic grasses, crammed them into his mouth, and started chewing. Not bad, actually. Even though they're basically poison, they actually tasted pretty good. Like ice cream and hot dogs, a weird but cool combo, but, almost instantly, Fang Xian's body went rigid, and his face twisted. Burning up, Waves of heat slammed into him. It felt like he'd been dropped into a freaking volcano. His blood was boiling, and his skin turned red as if he was about to melt. The fiery apricot was going wild inside him. Veins bulged on his forehead, sweat poured down his face, and his body spasmed. Fighting through the pain, Fang Xian clenched his teeth and focused, using the ice phoenix spirit inside him to try to chill things out. He had to stay conscious. If he passed out, he was toast. The ice phoenix spirit managed to keep the heat at bay for a moment, and Fang Xian's face started to look normal again, but then, bam. A wave of arctic cold hit him, freezing his lower body solid. Hiss. Damn, that's cold. After the heat, came the ice. He grit his teeth and used his soul power to weather the storm. He felt like Sun Wukong in the Taishang Laojuan's Bagua furnace. Hot, cold, agonizing, but Fang Xian wasn't indestructible. Even with his iron will, his body couldn't take this much longer. Cracks appeared on his skin, and blood started to seep out, staining him crimson. Here goes. He'd suffered for 3 minutes, waiting for the herbs to do their thing. Now, he slammed his hand on the ground, cracking the earth. Using the force, he launched his frozen body headfirst into the ice and fire spring. The fiery apricot and star anise, hot and cold, yin and yang, were a perfect match for the spring. The spring was dangerous. Regular folks who fell in were goners. Even someone like Douluo wouldn't stand a chance, but the herbs had been born from the spring. They were part of it, so, Fang Xian, who just ingested them, didn't instantly die. Instead, he thrashed around, the pain more intense than ever. He could explode at any second. During this process, the raw power of the herbs surged through him, making him stronger. His body was being forged in fire and ice. Transformed, as Fang Xian sank into the spring, he felt himself changing in ways he couldn't imagine. Wait, what's happening? Suddenly, something magical happened. In his dantian, the nine-hearted begonia bloomed and danced. Its gentle energy pulled the chaotic power of the heat and cold, now rampaging through his body, and guided it through his meridians, soothing, melting, absorbing. The nine-hearted begonia is helping me absorb the elixirs. Fang Xian was stunned. The nine-hearted begonia, a top-tier plant-based spirit, was resonating with the fairy herbs, complementing them. The violent elements were starting to calm, turning into Fang Xian's own power. Unbelievable. Tang San ate the octagonal black ice grass and the fierce apricot in the original story, and got an invulnerable body, but his own strength wasn't high enough to fully absorb the herbs, so, the herbs didn't boost his soul power, just his physique. But now, with the nine-hearted begonia as a catalyst, Fang Xian was sucking up every bit of the herb's power, and his soul power was shooting through the roof. He went straight from level 22 to level 25. Then, level 26. Level 27. Level 28. It kept climbing. Of course, it still hurt like hell. Even with the begonia's help, Fang Xian's body kept hitting its limit, unable to handle the herb's power. His skin split open over and over, his body practically exploded, and the crimson blood dyed the spring red. Luckily, he had the nine-hearted begonia to heal him. His body broke down, healed, broke down again, and healed again. Fang Xian had never been to hell, but he imagined it felt something like this. Finally, late at night, the torture ended. Bang! The surface of the ice and fire spring exploded. A lean, powerful body shot into the air, arced gracefully, and landed lightly on the bank. He was naked, his skin glowing, his muscles bulging. He looked like a god forged in a crucible. Level 30. Fang Xian clenched his fists, feeling the raw power surging through him. A grin spread across his handsome face, and a laugh echoed through the silent valley. Chapter 48 Detoxification. Please recommend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Level 30. Fang Xian totally leveled up. After absorbing the ice and fire energy from the crimson flame coxcomb and the octagonal mystic ice herb, he shot straight from level 22 to level 30. 8 levels in one go. Insane. For most people, climbing from level 22 to 30 would take ages. Fang Xian blasted through it and is now just one step away from hitting level 31 and becoming a Soul Grandmaster. Time to copy some more skills. Fang Xian was stoked. Russell, starred at a quiet noise came from a thick clump of bushes, then, a curious little face peeked out from the leaves, looked up with a sweet expression, and locked eyes with Fang Xian. Eyes met, big eyes, little eyes. Like what you see? Fang Xian asked. Ah. I'm gonna kill you, Dugu Yen shrieked, her face flaming red, and she bolted. Seriously? I'm the one who got the peep show. Fang Xian felt like he was the one getting ripped off, only to get yelled at for it. That girl's got issues. Scared off in the daytime, then sneaks back at night. Unreal. He grabbed some clean clothes from his space ring, shook the water out of his dark hair, changed quick, then sat down by the stream to check his stats. The ultimate sword draw system. Host, Fang Xian. Level, LV30. Title, Great Soul Master. Soul Power, 15 out of 500. Proficiency, Basic Sword Draw Technique, 99/100. God-Given Sword, 0. Martial Souls, Ice Phoenix Soul, Elementary 70 out of 100. Nine-Hearted Begonia Soul, Elementary 30/100. Talent, Ice Knife, Healing Knife. His soul power was now level 30. And, probably from absorbing the extreme cold and the rare herbs, his martial soul proficiency had also gotten a boost. Dugu Bo gave Fang Xian one day, so he needed to get moving on that antidote. Truth is, the antidote was just standard stuff that loosened muscles and boosted circulation. The real secret to detoxing Dugu Bo's body was Fang Xian's blood. Now that Fang Xian had absorbed the crimson flame coxcomb and the star anise ice herb, his blood was loaded with the medicinal power of those herbs, which could ease Dugu Bo's poisoning. Then the old coot could force the poison into his soul bone and then he'd be completely detoxed. But, that'd take a while. That's how it went down in the Douluo plot. Anyway, he didn't know any miracle cures, but some everyday muscle relaxants and blood boosters were totally doable. With that in mind, he jumped into action and started whipping up the antidote. The next morning, the sun busted through the horizon, sunlight streamed down, cutting through the haze and lighting up the silent soul beast forest. Whoosh. Whoosh, starred at a sharp sound cut through the air, waking Fang Xian from his meditation. He opened his eyes and saw a scrawny, old face, all snaky, with a worried glint in its green eyes. Kid, time's up. You got my antidote ready? Dugu Bo glared at Fang Xian, making it clear that a titled Douluo didn't have much patience to spare. He'd waited a whole day just to get the antidote to the poison wrecking his body. If Fang Xian didn't deliver the goods, he'd feel the wrath of a titled Douluo, for sure. Fang Xian glanced at Dugu Bo without a word and pulled out a small green bottle, setting it on the ground. Then he went back to meditating with his eyes closed, like nothing was going on, totally unfazed. After a beat, Dugu Bo popped the cork off the bottle, held it under his nose, and took a sniff. His brow furrowed and he glared at Fang Xian. You little punk. You trying to trick me? This is just regular medicine. I've been using medicine for decades. I know all the herbs. I can tell the difference. You can either smash it, stomp on it, and then kill me, Fang Xian said, totally calm. Or you can try taking it for a bit and see what happens. Your call. Dugu Bo thought it over. Alright, I'll trust you this once. Fang Xian went on, this medicine just gets things started. It'll ease the pain from the poison in your system. But to get rid of it for good, you'll need to do some other stuff. What? You need other methods. Weren't you saying you're some kind of medicine master, curing everything with a potion? Dugu Bo was getting annoyed, starting to think Fang Xian was just conning him. Ahem, you've been poisoned for decades, and you think one dose of medicine will fix you? Think I'm some kind of super healer? If I could do that, I'd be chilling at the spirit hall, not stuck here. And they would have sent people to take you out by now, so you wouldn't be a problem. Fang Xian coughed, almost getting carried away. You thought one potion was gonna do the trick? You think I got the 9 transformations elixir or the Hadao flower? Didn't realize a titled Douluo could be so naive. Or was it that his level of evil-doing has hit its limit? Fine, tell me how to get the poison out for good, then. He was still a little ticked off, but after giving it some thought, Douluo figured Fang Xian had a point, so he asked patiently. Fang Xian thought back to the plot and laid it out. The main reason you're poisoned is that you use poison. If your martial soul was a weapon, you could condense the poison into it and dissolve it. But your martial soul is a beast, so the poison just hangs around. You can suppress it with your soul power, but that's just a temporary fix. It won't be long before the poison blows up and eats you alive. So, to get rid of the toxins completely, you need a place to store it. With your power level, you should have a soul bone, right? This was the standard detox route. Thank goodness for my awesome memory, so I remember how to detox from the original book. If a forgetful traveler came, he'd be killed by Douluo for sure. Fang Xian breathed a sigh of relief, giving himself a mental pat on the back. Hearing that, Douluo's eyes finally lit up. You mean force the toxin into the soul bone? Not bad, kid. That actually makes sense. But the poison I've built up for years won't be easy to manage. If I mess up, I could get a massive backlash and drop dead. You trying to off me? That's the only way to detox, take it or leave it. Fang Xian said coolly, please vote for a recommendation. Chapter 49 Leaving. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Besides, the poison's been eating away at your body for decades. It won't clear up overnight, give it at least half a year, but your granddaughter, Douluo, is still young. If you can find a soul bone for her to contain the poison, I guarantee I can cure her instantly, no side effects. That's the honest truth, take it or leave it. Fang Xian remained cool, staring straight at Douluo. Yen. Mentioning his precious granddaughter melted Douluo's icy stare. I'm old news anyway, he said. As long as you can cure Yen, that's all that matters. Don't sweat it. You're looking at the miracle worker who'll guarantee a long life for both of you. Fang Xian declared, setting the stage for negotiation. We'll see, Douluo grumbled. But Fang Xian shifted gears, getting down to business. I saved both your lives. You're not planning on just letting me walk away, are you? That'd be a total rip-off. Douluo's face darkened. Kid, I've roamed this continent for decades. Even the emperor of the Heaven Do Empire treats me with respect. How dare you try to bargain with me? Forget beating me down, we'll go down together. I'm trading one of your lives for 2 of mine. Sounds like a great deal for me, Fang Xian replied casually. You. Douluo spluttered, speechless with rage, his beard practically bristling. This kid was something else. Backed into a corner, he had no choice but to give in. After all, he didn't want to die from poisonous hair. Alright, kid, Douluo finally conceded. Besides sparing your life, I'll grant you one more condition, deal? Just one. Fang Xian frowned, realizing he didn't quite have Tang San's charisma. Tang San got 3 things, he was only getting one condition, he needed to brainstorm, to use his wits to squeeze the most he could out of Douluo. After a moment of intense thought, Fang Xian had it. Here's the deal, Senior Douluo, I'm not greedy. My condition is that you do 3 things for me. Is that too much to ask? Douluo's mouth twitched. This kid was a piece of work, why not just ask for 10 favors? Just one thing. Besides keeping you alive, I'll do one thing for you, no takebacks. He growled. Whatever, Fang Xian muttered, his mojo clearly wasn't strong enough. Douluo watched Fang Xian carefully, then remarked pointedly, looks like Emperor Xuan and everyone else was wrong. You're not just useless, you're a stone-cold little hustler, but in this world, the bad guys always outlive the good guys. Is that a compliment? I'm honored. Fang Xian said. I wonder if Xuan will regret his decision. Douluo muttered under his breath, though he spoke quietly. Fang Xian caught it. What decision? he asked, puzzled. Douluo simply gave him a knowing look and said nothing. Time passed. Before he knew it, Fang Xian had spent 3 full days with Douluo. The official tournament for the Genius Battle would start at noon. It was the biggest event at Douluo Academy, and Fang Xian wasn't going to miss it. This competition was different from the preliminary rounds, which were just a free-for-all between low-level students that hardly anyone noticed. The official tournament would draw attention from the entire country. The royal family, nobles, and major sects would all send people to watch. Fang Xian had made huge progress in those 3 days. His soul power had nearly caught up with the best geniuses, and he could use this opportunity to test his growth. At noon, the sun blazed in a cloudless sky. The weather couldn't have been better. Standing on the bank of the ice and fire yin-yang well, Fang Xian patted the full space ring. A satisfied smile spread across his face. Time to roll. Douluo Yen had already left yesterday to head back to Douluo Academy and prepare for today's matches. The academy was just outside Douluo City, not far from the Soul Beast Forest where Douluo lived. At top speed, Fang Xian could reach the academy in under an hour, just in time for the start of the tournament. This official tournament was a huge competition for 100 people, including 50 students below level 30 who had advanced from the preliminary rounds, and 50 Douluo level students above level 30. The competition was a single elimination bracket, with opponents drawn randomly for each round. With so many contestants, the tournament would be long, lasting several days. After a moment's thought, Fang Xian was about to leave when an angry roar split the air. "You little punk! Get back here!" Hair standing on end, Douluo descended from the sky and glared at Fang Xian, his eyes burning with fury. "Hey, Senior Douluo, good afternoon. Here to thank me?" "Don't mention it," Fang Xian grinned innocently. The treatment over the past 2 days had been effective. The antidote Fang Xian had prepared had significantly reduced the pain of Douluo's poison attacks, and Douluo's attitude had improved as well. Fang Xian had told Douluo yesterday that he was returning to the academy, and Douluo had agreed, so he assumed Douluo was here to say goodbye and express his gratitude. "Thank you, my foot. You trashed my medicine garden, and you think you can just walk away?" Douluo pointed at the looted garden, his face contorted with rage. The once lush garden, teeming with rare and precious herbs, was now a wasteland of turned-over soil. There wasn't a single intact spot to be seen. The destruction of his beloved garden sent Douluo into a frenzy. "Oh, that," Fang Xian said calmly. "These herbs were part of the deal. Don't get greedy, senior. I think I was pretty reasonable." Douluo was clearly displeased, but he pleaded, "Could you have left some for me? You had to take it all." "I did leave something," Fang Xian replied. "What the hell did you leave behind?" Douluo demanded, gesturing at the bare earth. "I left the roots and seeds. They'll grow back in a few years." Douluo was speechless. "Goodbye, old-timer. I've got a tournament to get to, so I can't hang around. Don't forget to come see me to get your antidote on time." Fang Xian waved goodbye and disappeared in a flash. "Punk. I hope you get your butt kicked in the tournament." Watching Fang Xian's retreating figure, Douluo cursed furiously. Chapter 50 The First Battle, please recommend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tiendo Academy. The central square, usually off-limits, opens to the public only for major competitions. Today, the massive square is packed, a sea of faces stretching as far as the eye can see. The excited chatter of the crowd fills the air. While only 100 contestants are officially competing, the number of spectators is probably 10 times that. What's more, everyone invited to this genius battle is a high-ranking official, someone who carries serious weight in the Douluo Continent. In the center of the square, a large marble arena stands strong. A lone young man waits there, looking impatient. That jerk, where is he? His cold eyes scan the empty space where his opponent should be. Howard's patience is wearing thin. He's not the only one. The crowd is getting restless. Directly across from the arena, next to the referee's seat, is a VIP section. Emperor Xuan sits in the main seat, his face impassive as he surveys the scene. Beside him, Qianren Xue and Ning Fengji stand calmly. Who's up first? Why hasn't it started yet? Emperor Shuya asks Qianren Shuya. Your Majesty, the first match is between Howard, a level 30 Tiando student, and Fang Xian, a level 20 Tianwei student, Qianren Shuya replies respectfully. Huh? Fang Xian's still here, Emperor Shuya seems surprised. He thought Fang Xian would have been kicked out by now for not meeting the Academy's standards. Yes. He's not only still here, but he made it through the preliminaries and qualified for the genius battle. Qianren Shuya explains Fang Xian's recent performance. Emperor Shuya's expression changes, a hint of surprise on his face. He hadn't expected this useless student to actually accomplish anything, but this small achievement isn't enough to truly impress the emperor. He quickly regains his composure, seemingly unbothered by anything happening around him. It's almost time. At the referee's table, Meng Xinji, the head of the Tiando College Education Committee, looks at the anxious red-haired woman beside him. Teacher Rulan, since Fang Xian is a no-show, will have to rule it a forfeit. Why? Rulan's face is crestfallen. It's rare enough to have a student in her class compete in the genius competition. If Fang Xian does well, it would reflect well on her. She'd finally be able to shut up those colleagues who constantly make fun of her for teaching only Tianwei-level kids. Teachers have their own rivalries, too. Please, Mr. Meng Xinji, can't you give him a little more time? He should be here any minute, Rulan pleads, clasping her hands. Well. Meng Xinji hesitates, glancing at Emperor Shuya in the VIP section, then at the impatient spectators. Murmurs of complaint are growing louder. He shakes his head, knowing they can't wait any longer. I'm sorry, Teacher Rulan. Fang Xian forfeits. Meng Xinji stands and announces loudly, since Fang Xian hasn't appeared, I declare Howard the winner by default, whoosh, star. Suddenly, a black shadow hurtles through the air and slams into the arena with a powerful bang. A young man with black hair and black clothes stands there, his slender figure and cold, fiery eyes fixed on Howard. It's Fang Xian, just arrived. His arrival sends a shockwave through the crowd. It's not excitement or cheers for a hero, but jeers and boos. Wow! Look, it's Fang Xian. I heard he's got a dark side and doesn't even respect women. Howard, we're with you. Crush Fang Xian. Fang Xian's reputation as a public enemy is still intact. 80% of the guys and 100% of the girls see him as the bad guy, so, most of the crowd is cheering against Fang Xian and for his opponent, Howard. Phew! That kid finally made it. Rulan sighs in relief, patting her chest. He's here. He's actually here. In the crowd, a cute silver-haired girl smiles as she sees Fang Xian. Yi Lingling had thought he wouldn't make it. Humph, that jerk, I'm going to beat him myself. Next to Yi Lingling, Du Guyen glares at Fang Xian. Yan, leave it to me. I'll defeat Fang Xian fair and square and avenge you. Yu Tian says warmly, everyone is talking, some happy, some not so much, but Fang Xian doesn't care about the opinions of others. He keeps his eyes locked on his opponent, focused, and ready to test what he has been working on. So, I'm not disqualified, right? He asks Meng Xinji at the referee's table. Nope, Meng Xinji nods. Since Fang Xian has arrived in time, I announce the first match of the genius battle, Fang Xian vs. Howard. Let the game begin. The announcement unleashes a wave of cheers. Everyone's been waiting for this. All eyes are on Fang Xian and Howard, eager for a good fight.